Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to another match preview. We're going to be talking about the Fulham game today. We'll also touch up on some of the news as well, because there's definitely quite a lot to go through. But yeah, let's start off with Fulham. Let's start off with Chelsea. The history of this fixture. This is obviously a local derby, a West London derby. Last season, Fulham won 2-1 at Stamford Bridge, but also Chelsea won 2-1 at Craven Cottage. So pretty equal last season, pretty tight regardless. I don't think Chelsea really deserved to win the game against Fulham based on the way we were playing at that time, but we ended up doing it, and it changed our season around. It was such a crucial game for us. I remember Tyreek George scoring. I remember Neto scoring the winner as well. It was a real turning point for Maresca, and I think that if we hadn't have won that game, we would be having very different conversations about Chelsea as a whole, our Champions League, like everything. So a lot rode on that Fulham game away at Craven Cottage last season. It's not a side that should be underestimated. I do think that Marco Silva has done a fantastic job with Fulham. Pretty limited resources, but I think recruitment's been good in previous windows. But I mean, this window, they've done absolutely nothing. And there's such a contrast between what Chelsea have done and what Fulham have done. It's been really quiet. The only senior player that they've brought in is a goalkeeper from Montpellier, Benjamin Lecomte. And that's it. They've done nothing else. And Marco Silva's come out and he said, we have to sign players. We don't have other solutions. He wants, more depth, more quality, more options. And there's plenty that they want. Obviously, you look at what we've done, and I could name you 5, 6, 7, 8 players that we've brought in. It's incredible. It's brilliant. Can I name 8? 5, 6 at least. 5, 6. I haven't been counting. But feeling very confident going into this game. But at the same time, even with the lack of signings, Fulham have been pretty good in this Premier League campaign. And I would say that they're still a respectable side, and I think they'll still finish in a half-decent mid-table position. Whether they're going to finish better off than last season, who knows? But, they got a 1-1 draw at Brighton with a late equaliser in the 96th minute, and then they drew against Man United as well. And they recently beat Bristol City in the Carabao Cup midweek. So lots to still be happy about if you are a Fulham fan, but I can appreciate the frustrations. Smith Rowe looks like he'll be coming back for this game, so I would be quite surprised if he didn't start, especially since he come on and then scored against Man United as well. Like, he's certainly going to be a threat. And a question mark as well on the left-hand side, whether Robinson's going to start or Castagne as well. So I'm going to guess that Robinson will start. I'm also going to presume that Smith Rowe will be available for Fulham. They have threats. They definitely have threats. So I'm not going into this game thinking it's going to be really, really easy. But one thing that we can see with Fulham that doesn't work particularly well is they've been quite slow starters in the past couple of games. They've conceded first in both league matches against Brighton and Man United. And, they don't actually create that many chances. So they're going to be reliant on set pieces, counter-attacks. They're not going to have much of the ball. If you look at Fulham's possession this season, it's been quite minimal. They've had sort of around 40% in the games they've played against Brighton and Man United. And I think that they'll have even less against Chelsea. But one of the frustrations is that even though they haven't signed players, and even though they don't necessarily have the quality that they want in certain positions to be able to play a different way and have different options, that almost makes life a little bit harder for Chelsea in the sense that we kind of know what Fulham are going to do. They're probably going to have a low block. They're not going to give us any space, and we're going to have most of our success out wide. That's going to be where the space is. In previous games, they've played a 4-2-3-1. And they're just going to look to protect the central lanes with Lukic and Burge, and try and counter with Robinson making a lot of runs. Obviously, Smith Rowe or Iwobi could be in there as well. And then we don't know if Muniz or Jimenez is going to start either. But I think that both those strikers are a threat. So we'll have to see what happens there and how they start. But we already know the formation. If Chelsea can't break Fulham down early on in the game, then that is going to be my main concern. We've seen against Brighton and Man United, they've conceded early. They've conceded in the first half. That trend needs to continue for Chelsea to have success in this game, in my opinion. So I want to see a goal within the first 20 minutes. And I think once you've got that first goal, the game is comfortably in control. We're going to have most of the ball. Fulham are going to have to open up, and then we can create more opportunities without having to force anything. If they're sitting back and just trying to stop us from scoring, then that's a game that we know Chelsea don't necessarily enjoy playing. We saw that against Crystal Palace, and I think that problem still exists. Now, we're not going to have Cole Palmer in this fixture. Do I think that's going to be a massive issue with Esteval starting? Honestly, I don't see how it's going to be a massive problem. And I guess that's kind of a testament to how Chelsea have recruited and where we are as a club at the moment. Because we're talking about Cole Palmer. Obviously, we love him. We all respect what he does for Chelsea and what he has done. But you have to admit that Chelsea have become less and less reliant on Cole Palmer under Maresca in terms of goals specifically. If you look at GA, then obviously GA has still been fantastic. But I do think that we're moving away from Cole Palmer FC. And the signings of Esteval, Delap, João Pedro, obviously Garnacho's come in, Gittins has come in. Hopefully Neto's going to be getting more GA as well. These are all things that I think will come to fruition, especially Neto. I think he's going to have a much better season this year than last. Then you're not as reliant on a player like Palmer. And I think that's a great thing. And I think that if we can have multiple players that can contribute, then Chelsea are going to be in a better spot. Because then when Palmer does get injured, you're not worried about where the hell am I going to get these goals from? Because I know I've got a striker that's competent. I know we've got a backup striker that's competent. There's actually some competition there. I'm very happy with my wingers. I've got Esteval who can play as a 10. It's fantastic. And then let's not complain about the midfield. On paper, it's one of the best in Europe. So lots and lots to be positive about in this game. But I think we have to understand what we've got in front of us. This is not a Fulham side that necessarily are playing their best football, but they're certainly not bad. They're just a respectable side. So as long as Chelsea go in with the understanding that they are going to have to push hard to get that first goal, if they can do that, then I think we'll be absolutely fine. And then just stopping Fulham from scoring from or getting set pieces in general, that seems to be one of the more noticeable threats, especially against Man United. That's what Fulham were doing in that game. Now, what I do think is going to be intriguing to see is how we start off this game, but I don't think we'll see that many differences compared to what we saw against West Ham. If it works well, why change it? So I think we're going to see Sanchez in goal. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Gusto starting in this game, although potentially you could see Reece James in there. Fofana hopefully gets his first start for Chelsea. He was due to potentially play against West Ham. That never happened. He come off the bench, so maybe we can get a start from him. And then alongside either Tosin or Chalobah, it'll probably be Chalobah, won't it? So we'll see them in there. And then Cucurella on the left. In the midfield, Caicedo and Enzo, I don't think anything changes. And then Esteval and the 10, Neto on the right-hand side. And I think we'll probably see Gittins starting another game, which I don't have a problem with. I do think that you need to embed players in. Garnacho's obviously going to come soon, but it's too early for him to come in. I don't even think the deal's been finalised, even though Fabrizio said, here we go. So I'm going to say Gittins on the left. And then, honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with Delap starting. I wouldn't have a problem with João Pedro starting either. I'm pretty happy with both of them. But I'm going to say that João Pedro probably starts this game. And then you can either take Gittins off, maybe move Esteval around a little bit, and you can have João Pedro as a 10 like we saw against West Ham. I mean, I thought that worked really, really well. Or maybe we play them both together and then we don't play Gittins in the first place. So these are all options that we can see, but we need to have an aggressive start, a strong start. This is so important for us. And it's really important that we press Fulham hard as well. Don't give them any space. The more chances we create, the more likely we are to score. But I just want to see us capitalise on an early goal. Ultimately, you can have as many shots as you want. If they're not clear cut, I think Chelsea have shown that, we will struggle. So I just want to see an early goal. And then I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a 1-0 game. I don't think there's going to be many goals in it. I think it's going to be tightly contested. And yeah, that's my main thoughts on the match in that sense. In terms of Enzo Maresca, he's spoken about Cole Palmer. He said we're a much better team when we have Cole. When he's not in the game, we need to find different solutions. And obviously, we don't have Badiashile available for this game. No Lavia either. They should be available after the international break. So maybe for the Brentford game, we'll see something. But in terms of injuries, listen, it's not a disaster. But there's a couple of players that we can't come in. I think we're going to be fine. All in all, I think we're going to be absolutely fine. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing Esteval get more minutes as well, guys, because he looks like he's more than capable of filling Cole Palmer's shoes. Really, really capable. But again, we don't want to be reliant on Esteval the same way we've been reliant on Cole Palmer. Because if Palmer ends up having a slightly worse injury than we thought, then that could be the situation. I want to see Esteval coming in, making an impact, but slowly embedding into this team. I always find that with young players, I just think that if you're able to give them a little bit more time in terms of not always being on the pitch, I don't think it's a bad thing for their development. Palmer was a slightly different story when he arrived, because look at the club and look at where we were. And obviously we were desperate for results. So you lean on whoever can contribute. But now we have so many more players that are able to produce. And I think that's just a massive positive. So, yeah, my prediction for this game, I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea. I'm going to go with a goal from... I'll go with an Esteval goal if he starts. Esteval goal if he plays. Otherwise, I'll go João Pedro. And, yeah, I'm feeling confident, guys. But let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said about this game. And put your score prediction below as well. All the best, guys, and catch up very soon.